Hi everybody, I think it's 12:10 and I'm noticing that my camera is a little bit off, so I apologize. There we go. Hi everybody, my name is Lily Bynes and I'm going to go ahead and get us started today. And I just want to make sure I have a panel of Hong Dao is one of our academic advisors that is also with us today. She's going to be answering some questions. And I want to make sure, Hong, can you hear me and see me? Well, Hong's using the chat function. So let me go over some of the, okay, she says, yes, I can hear you. Great. So my name is Lily Bynes, and we're going to have this webinar today about understanding and navigating academic probation. This webinar will be recorded and available online on our college website after today's recording. In the meantime, I would encourage you to have a pen and paper handy in case you want to take some notes. And some folks might want to use their phone instead to be able to take screenshots of the video today, but it will be available again online. We hope this webinar will help you gain understanding of your academic standing, but it is not intended to replace in-person advising with the dean's office or your major advisor. And when I use the phrase major advisor, I am specifically talking about your intended major or your currently declared major. A few housekeeping items. This Zoom webinar platform has 3 features I would like to point out. One is the Q&A function. So take some time right now to find the Q&A function. That's for questions and answers. We want to use this for questions today. I have enabled the anonymous option, so you can post questions for Hong and myself to address, either using your name or by choosing to ask questions anonymously. And then we also have a chat function. This can be used to address questions privately. So based on you'll see how this goes, but based on the question you ask, we may be able to pull out your question and address it privately. So, but again, please use the Q&A function, and private chats will be held offline with Hong Dao, our other advisor, online here today. And you might get a little curious and find the raise your hand function. We're not going to use that at all today. So please don't raise your hand. I'm not going to be ignoring you. I just want you to know that we're not using that function on Zoom today. And lastly, the video of my face is going to be turned off in just a moment as we start our presentation so that you can focus on the content for today, okay? And we should only be running about 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll save time at the end to answer any questions that haven't been addressed during the presentation. We'll be using a couple of anonymous surveys along the way to discuss our topic, and we encourage you to participate in every survey for the benefit of the group and for the discussion. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So don't be alarmed. You will see the video for my face going away right now, but you should continue to hear me. Okay, a little bit about us. Hong Dao is one of our advisors, and you will see her popping in and out probably on the Q&A and also on the chat function. By the way, all of you cannot chat with each other. You can chat with us. And Hong was born and raised in Sacramento. She attended UC Davis and majored in clinical nutrition, and she enjoys traveling. Both Hong and myself use she, her pronouns. I went to Chico State. I'm a graduate in health science major, which is similar to human development. I grew up in San Diego, and I lived in Oakland for a little bit, working at UC Berkeley. My free time is spent with my partner and 5-year-old son and 2 cats. Just so you can get to know a little bit about us. So welcome back to school, and we hope that you had a great spring break. It's just week 1, and this is a great time to evaluate winter quarter and make commitments for improvements for spring quarter. Our office sends notifications regarding students' academic status at the end of each quarter. If students are not in good academic standing, you should have received this message. Obviously, you did, and that's why you're joining us here today. The messaging you received asked you to take some action for advising with your major advisor and the dean's office based on the outcome of your winter quarter grades. It is important to follow up with an advisor about your final grades because this may impact your most recent graduation plan and your current spring classes. If you have already talked with your major advisor about your final grades, great job. For those of you that have not taken action with seeking and advising yet, we hope attending today's webinar will help start those discussions and initiate your exploration of your resources on campus so that you can take your next steps for a successful spring quarter. Maybe on your own, you have already decided to make some changes. We hope you will hear affirmation of these changes during this presentation today of the great things you are already doing, and maybe get some more ideas for additional tools that are available for you. Lastly, we want to remind you the importance of seeking advising from both your major and the dean's office. We would like to discuss your spring classes and maybe even talk about summer plans so that you can get back into good academic standing as soon as possible. So just some important dates to take note of. The quarter goes by super fast. And please be aware that just because you can still sign up and adjust your classes until the 12th day of the quarter, please do not wait that long. By that point, you would have missed almost 20% of the coursework. If you are adjusting your classes after the start of any quarter, we encourage you to talk with the professor or TA about starting late and the impact on your grade or progress for that course. And then just as a kind of a side note here, I added when fall quarter registration starts. And I know we're just in week 1, but you know, quarter goes fast. You may want to mark your calendars for when Pass 1 is going to become available, so that way you can get started in thinking about fall quarter, which seems like so far away from now, but it's going to be right around the corner before you know it. So in different parts of the presentation today, we will have short polls. As moderators, we will see your responses, but your responses are anonymous to all the other participants. You will see there are 2 ways to ask questions. As I mentioned, if you use the Q&A function, your question can be chosen to be anonymous or using your name. And then if you choose your chat function, it should be going just to Hong and myself today. We might not answer your question right away if we know we will cover it in an upcoming slide, but we will review all questions by the end of the presentation. And these are our goals for today. We want to check your basic knowledge first about academic probation. So here comes the first poll. Please respond quickly to the poll that will appear on your screen. During our presentation, we will have a few polls about various topics, and remember, your response will not be attached to your name. So what is qualitative academic probation? Please read the question. I will read it aloud for you as well. A student is on academic probation for qualitative performance. This is grades. When the quarter and/or cumulative UC grade point average is A, below a 1.5, B, below a 2.0 but above a 1.5, or C, below a 2.0. Okay, let's see if everybody's gonna vote here. And almost everybody. I'll give you a few more moments. Okay, we're nearing 45 seconds, so we'll get the last couple votes in. Okay, great, thanks for participating. So I'm gonna show you what the results were. And the answer to the question is B, below a 2.0, but above a 1.5. So the responses are a little bit, you know, all over the place, but when we get through the content today, I know everybody's gonna get 100%, okay? So next question. What is the requirement for minimum progress? Okay, ready? A student is on academic probation for minimum progress, also known as the quantitative requirement, referring to units. When a student did A, did not average 13 units in a full-time quarter, B, did not pass 12 units in a full-time quarter, or C, did not pass an average of 15 units in a full-time quarter. Go ahead and vote. So again, the Academic probation for minimum progress, known as the quantitative requirement, means that a student did not average 13 units, did not pass 12 units, or did not average 15 units. Okay, almost everybody has voted, and that's 45 seconds. So we're gonna go, oh, one more squeezed in there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and close the poll. Good job, good job. Okay, so this is close. 40% of you got the answer correct. So we're gonna go over this in detail about minimum progress. So the answer is A. The student did not average 13 units in a full-time quarter. Great. So those numbers sure are confusing, right? You may have heard different numbers regarding how many units you need to complete each quarter. So here's what you need to know. You need to be enrolled in 12 units to be considered full-time. This can impact financial aid, tuition, international student visa status, and residence hall housing, and perhaps other things. You need to average 13 units during each full-time quarter to meet minimum progress. And the 15 number, for a student that starts as a freshman, you need to average 15 units each quarter to graduate in 4 years. So that would be 12 full-time quarters. So if you're enrolled in all 3 quarters, fall, winter, and spring, full-time, and you do not complete 39 units during the academic year, it is critical for you to discuss your progress with the dean's office. It may not be reasonable to add a bunch of units in the spring to catch up on this requirement, and overloading yourself could be detrimental to your grades. Talk with the dean's office about how summer school units can be used for your specific scenario. This could be summer school that you have already completed in summer 2017, or units you need to plan for this summer 2018. It is important that you develop a reasonable and realistic strategy to address your unit progress. Also, depending on your UC GPA, you may be able to attend a community college, or you may need to plan for a UC summer session. Planning for summer will actually take some time to coordinate financial aid and finding equivalent classes for your degree requirements, or maybe finding online course opportunities if you cannot attend courses in person. So that was a lot of information. All right, so academic probation. There are different types. Probation is when your first quarter on probation. Probation continued is 2 consecutive quarters of academic probation. And subject to dismissal is 3 consecutive quarters on probation. Other reasons can cause subject to dismissal status. If your UC GPA is below a 2.0, it is important to discuss with the dean's office to help you get back to good academic standing. You need to also be aware that only UC grades can impact your UC GPA, and that's an important discussion in talking about summer school. If you are planning to repeat any D or F grades, discuss how this will impact your UC GPA and progress in your major with your major and the dean's office. So what is minimum progress? As I mentioned, minimum progress, the university requires full-time students to complete 39 units each academic year. This is an average of 13 units per full-time quarter, and minimum progress is measured at the end of spring quarter. If you did not pass enough units in the fall and winter quarters, you will want to meet with the dean's office to discuss your specific situation. We can help you strategize ways to reach minimum progress. Sometimes this strategy will include using the upcoming summer to complete units. It's a great way to restore minimum progress so you don't overload your spring quarter. Each student's situation can be different. So even if you have talked with friends or other campus resources, and even if you've discussed minimum progress with your major advisor, please come to the dean's office to speak with us about your plans to meet minimum progress. So remember, 12 units minimum per quarter to be full-time, 13 units average for minimum progress for full-time quarters, and 15 units average each quarter to graduate in 4 years. We do not encourage students to enroll in too many units to reach minimum progress. If you are currently enrolled in more than 15 units at this time, please be sure to seek advising as soon as possible to discuss your intended plans and a strategy to be successful with your current and future classes. So when you came to UC Davis, you came with expectations of doing well. Sometimes unexpected challenges or situations that are outside of your control can occur. The transition to UC Davis can sometimes be harder than anticipated. UC Davis is a large university, and the quarter system is fast-paced. It is not uncommon to feel behind or unsure where to go for help. Anything from study habits, personal family issues that may arise, your financial situation, or maybe you became ill or injured, and that could have had an impact on your academic performance. Here are a few common reasons students have faced academic difficulty. Perhaps by now, you have begun to reflect on your academics and challenges this last academic year. Now is the time to adopt new habits to support a successful spring quarter and finish strong. So here comes another poll, everybody. Let me get it ready. What was the main contributing factor that affected your grades? So go ahead and give you about 45 seconds. Again, these are anonymous, as you've seen. They're not tied to anything. So we're just going to take the next 40 seconds or so for you all to pick the main contributing factor that affected your grades. It could have been something we mentioned. And I got a nice little comment from somebody like, I hope I don't get this question wrong. There's no wrong answer. You're right. I know you're joking. So, all right. It looks like almost everybody has voted. And this is just to have a sense of community. You know, everybody's going through different things. And we want to just be able to sort of normalize that experience for you. Okay. That was 45 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and share the results. So we have the winner here is time management, and then other was 21% of students felt that that was the main thing that affected their grades. So time management and class schedule were the highest ones, and certainly in the quarter system, those things kind of go hand in hand sometimes. So just want to let you all know that, you know, there are a lot of resources that are available for that. All right. Thank you for participating, everybody. That really helps the conversation. So how do I return to good academic standing? To return to good academic standing, you must complete the quarter with a C average GPA and have your UC GPA back above a 2.0. You have the ability to help yourself return to good academic standing. There are a variety of campus resources to support and help you. It's important to seek advising so you know your options. We talked about the factors that may have affected your classes. Consider any changes or things you may need to do to address and make a plan of action to help you reach your academic and personal goals. Remember that you are not alone. There are many resources and advising options to help. Be aware that while you are not in good standing, you cannot change your major and cannot change your letter graded classes to pass no pass on schedule builder. If a class is offered only as pass no pass, that's okay for you to take those classes like PE classes or seminars. You just can't change a class to pass no pass. If at any time during the quarter you start to struggle in your classes, or if some of that life stuff that we talked about happens to start affect your academic progress, seek advising from the dean's office to explore your options for the quarter. It's important to do this right when things start to feel a bit uncertain. Although minimum progress will not be measured, has not been measured until the end of this quarter, it's important to discuss your units with your major and the dean's office. So let's get started in talking about all of these resources that are available to assist you. The Student Academic Success Center hosts a variety of resources, study skills, tutoring, a new program, success coaching, and a variety of success programs like EOP, Guardian Scholars, the Transfer Reentry Center. Oh, sorry, that comes a little bit later. EOP, Guardian Scholars, TRIO Scholars. There's a lot of different programs that are hosted through the many branches of the Student Academic Success Center. I want to call your attention for you to visit their website, success.ucdavis.edu. They're hosting a study skills conference on April 14th, and space is limited. It's on a Saturday, they're offering lunch, and it looks like a really good opportunity to take a Saturday out to be able to strengthen your study skills. Oh, you know, I want to go back to this and mention that tutoring, there's tutoring there for a variety of subjects: writing, math, economics, biology, physics, statistics. There's a lot of different things. And if tutoring is not offered for your particular subject, I would strongly encourage using success coaching to address your study skill habits, as well as attending those study skills workshops and talking with your major department about possible tutors or folks that might be affiliated with the major that could help you with your courses. So the Student Health and Counseling Services also offers many types of resources that are available around campus. We offer a satellite program here in the Dean's office. Annie Hahn offers counseling support resources, so you can come just to the Dean's office and meet with Annie Hahn here in our office, or you can meet with one of the other therapists through Student Health and Counseling Services. And just so you know, counseling services are there to support students through challenging times, but also even perhaps thinking about if you are considering a change of major and not sure how to approach that conversation with your family, or if you're having roommate or relationship challenges, and those things are what are affecting your academic progress. So sometimes there is a misunderstanding around what you would reach out to a counselor for. So I encourage you to discuss that with an advisor. There's also group counseling and peer counseling in this one-on-one short therapy model through counseling services. The Community Advising Network is also an opportunity for students to meet with counselors at a variety of locations all over campus. So again, that's called the Community Advising Network. You can look that up on the Student Health and Counseling Services website. And food and nutrition support, medical services, and wellness programs. Many students will mention to us that sometimes it's not just the classes and academics, but it simply is a matter of making ends meet, you know, when it comes to your food budget, or making sure that you are eating well and healthy meals or snacks throughout the day. And so there is available resources with the CalFresh program, as well as nutrition information on their website and other wellness programs that happen throughout the academic year. The Student Community Center resources are also available on campus. I hope you've been to the Student Community Center. These are a variety of the resources that are there. I want to note that services for international students and scholars and the Women's Research and Retention Center have offsite locations, but they're also important components of community. So building community and having folks around you to be sort of that UC Davis family is something that can also affect students' progress in their classes. If you have had challenges with meeting new friends, or perhaps there was a rift that happened with some friends and you are feeling alone, start getting engaged with some of the student communities on campus, or maybe a small amount of hours in exploring clubs to be able to support you and finding more people that are like you to support you while you're here. There are a wide variety of advising resources. So let's get started with that. There's all of this and then some. A couple things I want to point out to you here. The online exploration tool, if you're undecided, exploratory student, or you're starting to question your choice of major, the online exploration tool, search major card sort on the UC Davis homepage, and that will lead you through a questionnaire that will give you some ideas of what kinds of likes and dislikes you have that can help you in pointing you to maybe some majors that you hadn't even considered. The Internship and Career Center also has a quarterly fair that I encourage students to participate in throughout the academic year. You know, it's nice to go and walk around when you aren't looking for a job or an internship and just talk with other recruiters and with other students that are there to see what that's like. Sometimes students think that their major will line them up and is the only major that will line them up towards that internship or career, when in fact there could be a wide variety of majors that can line you up for your ideal internship or career. So check out the resources available at the ICC. Their website is icc.ucdavis.edu. Coming up very soon is the Undergraduate Research Conference offered through the Undergraduate Research Center. That's going to be held on April 27th and 28th. Another great way to explore different majors and learn about how you can get involved in research. Sometimes students just need to have a motivator to be able to find the right major for them. So you'll be able to talk with students and faculty there and see what your peers are doing in terms of undergraduate research here at Davis. And lastly, on this very long list is the Health Professions Advising Program, hpa.ucdavis.edu. If you're thinking about any health profession, pre-vet, pre-pharmacy, pre-med, all of those things, pre-nursing, pre-occupational therapy, visit their website. There's a lot of information on their website, but also go in for advising to talk about how sometimes a little stumble in your academics, what's that going to look like for you in the future in applying to your health professional school? And, you know, is your choice of major the only way to get there? Is there another way that you can be successful and still achieve your long-term goals? And most importantly, the top three, major department advising, our fabulous peer advisors all over the campus, in the campus resource offices, as well as here in the dean's office in the major departments. And we do have drop-in advising available in 150 Marac Hall. The email that you received, the first email you received had our shortened hours that are available for drop-in advising. But you can always give our office a call, and our phone number will be at the end that you can give our office a call, or you can send a Q&A and Hong can answer you, and we'll be able to give you more information about our drop-in hours. They're available every day except for Wednesday mornings throughout the year. So what should I consider moving forward? Hindsight is 20/20. Reflect back on the challenges that you may have had. What could have helped to have a different situation and outcome? Examples could have been using academic services, maybe a change of your study space, participating in study groups, better balance of work and school, balanced course load, taking less units, maybe reevaluating your engagement with social or extracurricular activities. There's so many things here at UC Davis to help you. Even all these options can be overwhelming to sort through. We don't want you to cut everything out. It really is a matter of balance. Come in and chat with us to review the available resources as it pertains to your individual situation. So here's another poll. I want you to think about what's one thing that you can do differently. Go ahead and take some time to think, and maybe you're thinking of something totally different that's not on this list. But just for the purposes of our conversation, what's one thing that you would like to commit anonymously to our group today that you would like to do differently for spring quarter, that you need to explore or plan to find out about? While we're doing this, I'm going to let you go for another 20 seconds. I wanted to also mention that sometimes students feel like they must be full-time, and for some students, they do need to be full-time. But if you're working a lot, or if you are a student parent, or you have a medical disability or something of that nature, talk with us in the dean's office about the possibility of being a part-time student. That might be something that can help some students as well. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll. Okay, most people, this is pretty balanced actually. Most folks were saying, you know, study skills improvement, need to work on study group. Using the Student Community Center got 0%. I still want to put a big plug in for the resources that are there. Check out the student retention, the SRRC, the student, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed SRRC, I suddenly forgot their acronym. But check out the SRRC and the Cross Cultural Center, because they do offer additional academic support through the SRRC. There's lots of tutoring and study groups that happen in that space as well. So certainly perhaps take a look at that. I forgot to share the results, so there you go. We had 29% study skills improvement, 14% and want to participate in study groups, and another 14% balancing school and talking with somebody for support, and office hours. I'm glad to see that you all are thinking about talking with your faculty. Good job. Okay, ooh, what happened there? Sorry about that. So this can be your wake-up call for change and improvement. Think about framing your situation positively and don't stay in the past. What's done is done. We hope you now have a better understanding of how you came to be on academic probation, what challenges you face, and what you could have done differently. This is your opportunity to return to good standing and be the successful student that you know you are and we know you are. You have a partnership in advising and community resources to support your success. So I'd like for you to think about what happened in winter quarter and what challenges were going on. It's time to think about what to do moving forward. Create an action plan and what community and partners are available out there for you to support you with this plan. Although it may feel uncomfortable at first to discuss your personal and academic challenges, remember that we're here to be your partner and we're here to help you succeed. If you've been trying to resolve this on your own, now is the time to seek support. Allow us to connect you with resources and advising. You know, sometimes we hear in our office that students don't want to bother us, or they feel like their personal challenges should not be a quote-unquote excuse for what happened. But I need to tell you that as a first generation of college student, I can understand personally how difficult it is to navigate a university, whether you're first generation or not. I also know how difficult it can be to ask for support, sometimes given your family or cultural expectations. However, please know that when you are asking for advice, it is not an inconvenience to us. This is what we're here for. Pride, ego, shame, fear, or even a strong sense of obligation to being independent may hold you back from achieving success and your goals if you don't use resources to support your success. Students don't set out planning to end up being in academic difficulty. We know that despite this stumble, you belong here and you can succeed. You earned your admission to UC Davis, and we want to be here to help you succeed at your goals. So please take the time to write down your action plan. We want to be here to support you, and I encourage you to start to get to know the people, staff, faculty, and peer advisors that work in the campus resources we mentioned. You may find an unlikely hero or shero that will be able to help you explore balance and develop tools for academic success. Positioning yourself for your future success is a partnership by actively and honestly reflecting and evaluating your own experiences and then sharing and collaborating with your major, the dean's office, and campus resources. So I want to go through one more time our learning outcomes for today. So if you can, go ahead and please answer this question. What is academic probation? And we're almost done with our webinar, so what is academic probation? There's a few more very important slides as we get close to the end here. But in terms of content, and I realize I think I'm about 5 minutes over on our content time, but we still have a good amount of time for questions. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end the polling in about 3 seconds. 2, 1, all right. Good job, everybody. As a reminder, the answer is B. Academic probation is below a 2.0, but above a 1.5 for your quarter or UC GPA. Okay. Ready for the next question? I know you know this one. Minimum progress. Let's take this quick poll for minimum progress. How many units do you need to average? Okay. Almost everybody's got their vote in. All right. And then 3, 2, 1. All right. A student is on academic probation for minimum progress when they A, did not average 13 units in a full-time quarter, okay? So the average of 13 units every full-time quarter. So just as an example, if you were here as a brand new student in the fall and winter are 2 full-time quarters, you would need a total of 26 units, an average of 13 units per full-time quarter. Come in and let's talk about this requirement in case you are confused about your own particular situation. And as a reminder, you know, as we discussed, there are, you know, opportunities in the summertime, and perhaps you took summer school last year. So let's talk about your particular situation. Speaking of summer, in the quarter system, planning is everything. So even though we are just getting started with spring, I've already been talking to you about summer. And maybe your family's already asking you about your summer plans. When are you coming home? For some students, summer might be optional. And for some students, it may be required, depending on your individual situation. Knowing as soon as possible how your academic status may impact your summer plans is really important. If you haven't already checked it out, summersessions.ucdavis.edu with that little dash, summersessions.ucdavis.edu. If you plan to attend a school away from UC Davis this summer, be sure to check with the financial aid office about eligibility for other UCs or maybe other community colleges and how to coordinate your aid. UC Davis has 2 summer sessions, 6 weeks each. Some other UCs have different sessions, different numbers of sessions and different time frames, just so you know. At most, students take 2 classes per session. Discuss with your major advisor what is the best for good balance and performance in your classes. Don't just haphazardly pick classes off of your academic plan. You want to make sure that you're taking a good balance and that the 2 classes you pick to take together, if you choose to take 2 together, are good complementary to each other. If you are not attending a UC, you will need to check with the school you are planning to attend regarding registration and cost of attendance, and talk with your major and the dean's office about finding appropriate classes for your degree requirements and how to transfer the credit to UC Davis. Okay, everybody, that's it. I'm gonna check to see what questions we may have had. Take a note of the location. If you've never been to the dean's office, that's where we are, and that's our phone number. Okay, so we've got some questions coming in. So if let's see. Okay, so if I took 14 units in the fall and 7 last quarter, oh, I'm being asked to do math live. I know Hong's going to probably help me with this. So if I took 14 units in the fall and 7 last quarter, and I'm taking 16 units this quarter, will it affect registration for the fall? So I'm wondering if this student is asking about minimum progress, because that is a math question. So 14 plus 7 plus 16 is 37 units for this academic year. So if you were full-time all 3 quarters and you took 14 in the fall, 7 in winter, and 16 for spring, you will end with 37 units, and you will be on academic probation for your units for minimum progress at the end of spring. I would not encourage you to go beyond what you're already enrolled in. 16 is already a pretty high unit value for some students, but if this is you, I would encourage you to talk with your major and the dean's office about the possibility of doing summer and how that can help you, as well as talking about the classes that you're enrolled in for spring. And a follow-up comment was, I have a lot of AP units. AP credit does not count towards minimum progress. So the advantage of advanced placement and IB credit is that it helps you get into the University of California for being a competitive student. It also helps you get to your degree faster, but the university still expects you to complete a 13-unit average for every full-time quarter. So for that student and for any other student that won't meet 39 units by the end of the academic year, if you were full-time all year long, I would encourage you to come in and talk with the dean's office to discuss, how you could use summer coming up. For those of you that are continuing students, meaning that fall 17 was not your first year, your scenario may be a little bit different. So please come in and talk with us. Each student's minimum progress situation can vary differently, but the main rule is that for all full-time quarters, you need to average 13 units per quarter. Okay, any other questions here? So somebody had asked, is an appointment mandatory with the dean's office? And so just to let you all know, at the probation standing, an appointment is not mandatory, but it is highly recommended. The dean's office has has drop-in every day. For the next few weeks, we're going to have limited drop-in hours from 10 to 11:30 and from 1:30 to 3. These are first come, first served, so sometimes students will be at our door at 8 a.m. to try to snag that first morning appointment, and then we reopen at 1 o'clock, and students will be waiting outside in the lobby for our doors to reopen to snag those afternoon appointments. So they are first come, first served, and you want to make sure that you are just proactive in seeking that. We also have peer advisors available daily. Just to mention that they aren't discussing probation specifically with students, but they can help you in some course selections, GE and degree checks, things like that. So, and they are available also on a drop-in basis. If by chance you find yourself in subject to dismissal status, that status does require an appointment. So probation and subject to dismissal, sometimes referred to as subject to disqualification status, those have different requirements and expectations for you. So, but probation is not required for an appointment. But please come in. We hope that you do. A couple folks did ask again about how does AP credit affect your units per quarter? And just as a reminder, AP, IB credit does not get factored into minimum progress. Okay. Just looking at the question. So another follow-up question is, what happens if you don't meet 39 units, but you can't take summer courses? So in the example that was provided earlier, the student was completing 37 units by the end of spring, placing them into probation status for minimum progress. You can, quote unquote, catch up with those units within a defined time frame, ideally before the end of fall quarter. So that's what I would suggest, is if you cannot take summer, ideally, and in some cases it may be required that you catch up with your units by the end of fall quarter. So in that mathematical calculation, the student had 37 units by the end of spring. In fall, the student would need to pass at least 15 units in the fall. So that would be perhaps the fourth quarter of enrollment. 4 times 13 is 52. And that means the student has to complete a total of 52 units to average 13 units per quarter. I'm sure Hong is impressed with my math off the top of my head. So, and again, as a reminder, we don't always encourage you to just add units to your spring classes, because it could end up jeopardizing your grades. So please come in and talk with us. We have drop-in advising available daily. You can also talk with your major advisor. Sometimes there's a big difference between 15 and 16 units. In what I see on students' academic records, is that sometimes 15 units is manageable and 16 can be too much. And then if you're enrolled in 16 and you add another class, if you're enrolled in 16, that extra class could be 3 units. Now you're in 19 units. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Even if it's a 2-unit class or a seminar, you're moving up to 18 units. So I would really encourage anybody that, as we as I presented today, if you're enrolled in more than 15 units, please seek advising just to make sure that you have a good balance. And if you did receive anything with a grade less than a C minus, so a D plus D, D minus, F, that you're not continuing with courses that recommend a prerequisite or, you know, consider, you know, repeats, those types of things, please come in and talk with us. Do we have any more questions? Hong, is there anything you want to add? You can send me something through the chat as well if you want me to mention something. Hong does not have a microphone on her, so she has been diligently addressing questions in the chat and also in the Q&A. So I'll just wait just a couple more seconds. Okay, so Hong said everything's good there. All right, so let me look at the last couple of questions here. So somebody asked that they failed a class, putting them behind last quarter, and will they still be on academic probation? I think everybody can see the answers on the Q&A, but so putting me behind on quantitative progress standards. If I raise my GPA this quarter by doing well with 12 credits, will I still be on probation? So Hong said it's important to come in for drop-in because minimum progress is very unique. So I do want to, I do want to go back here and remind everybody about summer session. Signups are actually starting May 1st. So before you're even thinking about fall, registration will be open May 1st. So please go in and talk with your major advisors. And I think we're all done. I don't see any more questions coming in. We're going to finish a whole 3 minutes early. And oh, there's one more question. And hi, I'm back. So let's see what this last question is. Oh, somebody said, can I still make drop-in hours if I go right now to the dean's office? Yes, you can. Our doors are going to be opening in about 3 minutes, and it all just depends. I don't know if there's anybody outside the door right now waiting to get on those drop-in hours this afternoon. Hong might have a better look than I do, but we also have scheduled appointments that might be happening today too. So we have a number of staff that are available on drop-in this afternoon. So come on by and see if you can get in. And if I don't know how far away you are, but just come on in. And again, when we open it in the morning, we start filling the morning slots, and then we close from 12 to 1, and then we'll reopen at 1 o'clock and we start filling the afternoon slots. So try to allot enough time to wait to be able to get one of those drop-in spots, okay? If there's no more questions, I just want to thank you all for coming today, and this will be available online within the next few hours. And there you will be receiving another email that will invite you to the webinar again. You do not have to attend again, and I commend you for attending today because this is one of the many important steps for you to continue exploring how to improve your academics. So the next reminder is going to go out next week for the second webinar, and it's just so that students that missed this one will be able to attend. Okay? Hong, anything to say as we exit? I think she might be gone already, but I just want to thank you all again, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, okay? And have a great day. Bye. Happy spring.